Islamic terrorists don't need an excuse to attack the United States. They don't attack us for what they do. They attack us for who we are. It is not a security decision. It is a political decision based on a promise the president made on his campaign. To say that it is a security decision based on propaganda value that our enemies get from it is a pretext to justify a political decision. In my opinion, the only problem with Guantanamo Bay is there are too many empty beds and cells there right now. We should be sending more terrorists there for further interrogation to keep this country safe. As far as I'm concerned, every last one of them can rot in hell. But as long as they don't do that, then they can rot in Guantanamo Bay.
Strong words from newly elected Republican Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas on the future of Gitmo. The president continues to push for that prison's closure. But it's become apparent that a whole lot of people who have been detained there are rejoining the fight. For example, reports today of a Taliban-turned-ISIS commander who is also a former Gitmo detainee killed via a drone strike in Afghanistan just today. For more on this story and the curious use of words and euphemisms by our government, or at least by this administration, we are joined by national security analyst Ryan Mauro, Skyping in today from New Jersey. So, Ryan, the news this morning of a former detainee being killed via drone strike. What does that tell us about people getting out of Gitmo?
Well, obviously it tells you that they shouldn't have been released in the first place, because he didn't just go to Afghanistan and then just show up there and then we drone strike him. He actually engaged in terrorist activity, passed along knowledge, had caused a fissure among the terrorist forces by joining ISIS as opposed to being part of the Taliban, which is part of an interesting dynamic right now that we're seeing in Afghanistan that's a precursor to Afghanistan following in Iraq's steps. ISIS is moving, for the lack of a better term, to the right of the Taliban. They're saying that we will never negotiate, never have any type of peace deal with the Afghan government or the U.S. forces, and so we are the more pure ones compared to the Taliban. So yet again, you're seeing this competition rise up between jihadist forces to outdo each other.
Mindful of that, I want to switch gears in the 2.5 minutes that remain to talk about this administration's strategy. It was offered in formal fashion by Susan Rice the other day, and we have heard about this document that was given to Congress that calls for, quote, strategic patience, a claim that it emphasizes diplomacy over military power. What are your thoughts on strategic patience?
This is like forgetting the birthday of a relative, and then when they say, oh, how come you didn't say happy birthday? And you say, oh, well, I was exercising strategic patience because I thought it would be better to get you a gift later on. It's basically an excuse for not doing something. And under this doctrine of strategic patience, you can justify any type of delay by saying, well, I'm just waiting for something to happen and see how things play out. That's always going to be the case. This is just fancy wordsmithing for not wanting to do something.
And mindful of that, quote, strategic patience, was it made manifest in the recent visit of King Abdullah of Jordan? I understand he made a specific request for weapons that the president, if he did not deny, at the very least delayed, which for all intents and purposes is denying. 45 seconds on your assessment of that.
I saw that, and I also saw that the Iraqis had requested drone support that we previously denied them as ISIS was rising. And the unfortunate problem that we have in criticizing this policy is that every time another country steps up, regardless of what we do, President Obama will be able to say, oh, well, that right there, that was strategic patience. And he can claim credit for it. And so it's really ridiculous, but it is good to see the Arab world, especially the Jordanians, stepping up and become serious about the ISIS threat.
Very quickly, 20 seconds, your assessment. Does Jordan have enough to effectively battle and defeat ISIS?
Oh, no, not to defeat them. I don't think so. With our help and the help of other countries, yes, but they do have the power to do some damage. And when you look at the ISIS accounts after the initial airstrikes by Jordan began, you could tell that they were hurting. Their public proclamations made it sound like they weren't hurting at all. But if you look at the individual accounts, they were talking about a lot of casualties and them feeling a lot of pain.
And on that note, we will say thanks to Ryan Mauro, and America's Forum will continue right after this.